Alright, we back with another video. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram, the link is in the description. Alright, we're going to comb through the hair, checking for cowlicks. This is a waver, so we have to lift the waves off the scalp so we can go ahead and hit it with a number 2. We will be performing a low fade with the waves, so we don't want to go too high, but we're going to go ahead and knock it off with a number 2. I actually didn't like what the number 2 was doing, so in a minute I'm going to go back to the 1.5 open. Alright, so now that we're knocking the hair down from the top, I usually put my hand there so I can catch the hair so the hair doesn't get all over the face. It's a good method, you know, if you ever got your hair cut before, no one likes to get their hair all over their face. It's really irritating. I'm just taking the 1.5 open and going through the hair, making sure I get it all laid right in the right position, and I'm going through it thoroughly. Now we're going to start off with our initial guideline. We're going to keep it as low as possible, just above the ear. Here's a gem. I always start off with some place where I can line it up with the face. So at this point, I'm starting off at the end of his eyes to keep the fade as low as I can and bring it around the ear. Now with my wall magic clips, we're going to go up about 1 inch with the lever open. Lever open means you put the lever closest to the ground. Now we're going to close the lever and start knocking out that bottom line. Lever closed means the lever is closest to the ceiling. And now we're halfway. We're going to start knocking out the rest of that line. Now that we're going behind the ear, we're going to start using the corners. I'm starting off with the lever close. Corners will save you. You got to use those. They're good for detailing and they're good for getting in close spots. So now we're going to come with the 1.5 close and start knocking out some of this bulk just to clear it out. We're not really going to go up and make a guideline, but we are going to go up and just soften up the area so we can come back with the 1 open. Now we have the 1.5 open, and we're going to start fading down. And fading down is when you start off with your highest guard and you go down each individual guard to the lowest guard you're going to use for your fade. And my fading method for fading down is open, halfway, close. Now I have my half guard open, and we're going to start knocking out that bottom line. While I'm working this half guard, working through my progressions, sometimes you just gotta really focus in and get certain areas. You gotta pick spots when you don't like them and go ahead and get them to where you like them before you move on. In your corners, they will save your life. Now I'm back with the no guard open, lever open, and just hitting certain areas. And now we're going to come back with the 1.5 and start knocking some of this bulk down at the top so we can make it a better transition into the fade. And now I'm going to come with the 2 guard close and just soften up this area between the blend and the waves. You always want to go up a guard size higher than you actually went with the grain, so you can just soften it up. You don't want to go with the same guard. It's going to be too light and you might bring the fade up higher. And just to make it a little bit smoother, I come back one more time with the 1.5 open to get some areas that are still a little dark to me. also fading down. Now look at that, that's looking pretty blurry to me. Let me know what you think in the comments. Alright, we're going to start detailing now. You want to spot check all over the blend to make sure you get all the areas and make sure everything's perfect. You might want to look in the mirror, take a good look. You can turn the client to make sure you get all angles and just pick spots that you want to fix and make look better. This will bring your clientele higher and they will appreciate it. Alright, we're going to start this side off with the lever open, and on this side we are going to fade up. Alright, on this side we're going to start with the lever close. We're going to fade up, so we're going to go close, halfway, open. Another gem for you guys. There's a good side to a fade and a bad side. On the bad side is usually where the client sleeps on and their hair can grow in all kind of different directions. The first side I did for this fade, that was his sleep side. This side is going to come out a lot easier because he doesn't sleep on this side and it goes in the direction he brushes his hair. Just a quick gem for you guys. Now we're going to start off with the one guard open, and we're going to go up another inch. Now we have the half guard halfway open, and we're going to start flicking out this line. Now on these hard to reach areas, we're going to go to the corners. Use the corner of the blade on either side to get to the spots that we need to get to. And now we're going to jump to the two guard close and start softening up this area. Now we're going to come back with the 1.5 guard open and start softening it up more. Now what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So we're going to go ahead and detail it and get it right. I sped this part up because we've seen how we do it. We get the corners, get the right angles, spot check. We're doing all that to get it right and get it perfect. my style of cutting, or you can use other YouTubers' style of cutting. You can use a little bit from me or use a lot from someone else, but once you get your style down, you just want to perfect it. That's the thing. You got to get your eyes trained, you got to get your wrists and your muscles trained to go ahead and finish out these haircuts. But the tips are all the same for every haircut. You just want to keep doing it the best you can. You got to keep putting up the shots. You will miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, so keep putting up these shots. We're going to go ahead and hit him with some Tresemme hold spray to go ahead and lock that lineup in. His lineup is not as prominent as a lot of people. While that dries, we're going to get the facial hair off his face. Alright, we're going to grab these blue FX and hit the C cup area. Take our time and get it nice and sharp. As of right now, these are my favorite trimmers on the market. See, his hairline is not so prominent, but we're going to go ahead and get it right. Again, we're going to hit this side with the Tresemme hold spray and knock off those facial hairs and lock them in. We're going to go right back to the C cups with the corners, come around that corner and get it as natural as possible. This vertical bar is not really thick, but we're going to go ahead and put it where it needs to be and assist it with some fibers. we're gonna go ahead and take a 1.5, open and knock it down a little bit more, checking to see for the overhang so we can get that lineup nice and perfect. Some would say this is a pushback, but if you know, you know. That's why I double check to make sure I can get all the overhang and get it right where it needs to be. Right, we just hitting right here in this corner trying to get this right. Trying to go straight across. Look at your boy, he's showing out, using his left and his right hand. As barbers, you gotta learn to use both. It'll help you out tremendously. Alright, we're gonna come back and hit it with the razor, get that line as sharp as we can. Some areas here I didn't like, so I'm gonna come back and touch it up again with the blue effects. This lineup's a little bulky, so we're gonna take it down to the 1.5 close, just so we can get it as sharp as we can. I wanted to lay down and it was just bulky. I didn't want him to brush his hair and come back and his lineup is not as crisp. So knocking it down and get it where I could just get the hair to lay perfect, so when he brushes it tomorrow, the lineup is still crisp as the day I did it. Now with my Sean Cuts Hair color enhancement card, I'm going to use some of this black solution, fade to black. I usually use the no drip, but my air compressor was not working, so I have this as a backup. It's pretty clean, as long as you use it as about 10 inches away from the hair. You can get a nice enhancement without it looking too dark. Alright, again with the spot checking. Something in the lineup I seen that didn't like, don't be afraid to go over it multiple times. You want this to be picture perfect. Every haircut and your clients will appreciate you. Back to the detailing, got the half guard and just hitting some areas that I didn't like. I'm telling you, your clients will appreciate you. Now look at this. See, the smile does it for me every time. Clean, sharp, low fade. I appreciate you guys for watching. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Hit that bell for notifications on the next videos that drop. Thanks for watching.